There we go. Okay, so I did want to talk about basic science versus applied science that you guys read about. Within the psychology subfields, you can talk about basic science being the science that adds to psychology's knowledge base. So this is going to be where you're doing research for the sake of learning something about behavior that maybe you didn't know before, okay? So this would be, for example, links between the brain and the mind. They would do like neuroscience, where they're looking at what parts of the brain controls what parts of behavior, okay? They're constantly still studying this and trying to figure out exactly what the link is, okay? But also you could look at, if you're a basic researcher, you could look at how the mind changes as we age, okay? You are adding to the content knowledge. You are finding something that previously was not known about behavior, okay? So basic research is that kind of thing where you are actually trying to add to the knowledge base. You can kind of think of like a textbook where you're actually adding stuff that wasn't already in there. Okay, the other side of things, the applied research, or applied science, I should say. I gotta get used to that. Applied research is going to be working to solve practical problems. So in this case, you are looking and you're doing some research to help people actually with day-to-day living. Okay, so for example, how to raise thriving children. If you are trying to figure out how best to help parents. Boosting morale. There are actually psychologists that are hired by companies to do this. And it's interesting because business owners for a long time didn't really recognize that that was a significant part of their business, okay? But they are starting to realize that you need to keep morale high. You need to be able to have a positive working environment. So business owners will literally go and hire psychologists, and their job is to make sure everybody's happy, feeling good, feeling productive. So can you imagine that person's job in a business where everybody else is working on the little nuts and bolts of whatever the business is making and producing, and your job is to go around making people feel good? Kind of nice. I don't know. I thought that sounded cool. Okay. But that's applied research. If you're looking at, okay, what is it that drives people? What will make them happy? Okay. So they will actually go and investigate those kinds of things in a given work environment. Okay? I have a couple of cartoons to illustrate this. First of all, I have this one. Remember I mentioned Pavlov and his dog a couple times? Okay? So the whole idea of Pavlov and his dog was that, remember, Pavlov rings a bell, gives the dog food, rings a bell, gives the dog food. And after he does that so many times, he rings a bell, the dog salivates, and I've mentioned that before. Okay? In this cartoon it says, watch what I can make Pavlov do. I can't read it off the screen. Pavlov do as soon as I drool. He'll smile and write something in his little book. So it's from the dog's perspective, where he's saying that he's basically conditioning Pavlov. I smile, I drool, he does something. The other one was. This one is, there's a child psychologist, and obviously it looks like a little prince and princess or whatever, and has a frog on the table. The child psychologist says, I see lots of room for growth within your son. Son being the frog. Lame. But it gives you an idea of Pavlov is the basic research, and the child psychologist, the applied research, okay? All right, I think I'm going to stop here for today. Does anybody have any questions about what we've discussed today, nature versus nurture,